Since 2019, there's been at least 200,000 people incarcerated in America with life sentences. Some guilty, some innocent, but very few with a chance to make it home. These are a few stories from some of those few, the ones that survived those sentences. Therefore, we bring you life after life. Welcome to Life After Life, episode 1. This episode is it's a very special episode to me. This is the reason that I created the show and the whole situation. When I was barely becoming a teenager, I had a big cousin that I grew up with that was like my brother. And he ended up committing a crime and getting a life sentence. At the time, I never knew that how his situation would affect me, my family, him, and everybody around us. So, 29 years later and some change, my cousin came home from prison. So, he asked me what it was like when he got home. And I told him it was like somebody coming back from the dead because he had served a life sentence. And the time he was gone was a whole another life from, it just felt like I had lived a whole life without him. Therefore, we come up with the Life After Life. I want to welcome y'all to Life After Life. And our first guest on the show is my big cousin, Grady Morris.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How you doing?
Man, good, free.
Well, we're going to let you, first of all, tell the people who you are and a little bit about who you are.
Okay. Grady Morris, Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised. Grew up in different parts of Nashville. Graduated from Hunters Lane Comprehensive High School in 1993. Soon after high school is when I kind of started dabbling in the streets a little bit.
Okay. So, before we even get into that part, let's talk about your family, your upbringing. Were you in the house with both mother and father? Do you have any siblings?
Well, I have 2 siblings, a younger brother, younger sister. I'm the oldest of 3. My father was in the house for a little while. I think I was around 9 or 10 when he left us. He was alcoholic. He had problems, mental health issues that I couldn't even fathom as a kid. And, he had problems that he didn't want help for. So, he was verbally abusive to my mother. He was verbally abusive to, me and my brother. My sister was his baby girl, so he really didn't have anything as far as negativity toward her. She doesn't probably remember most of it because she was so young. But anyway, we were left with moms.
So you grew up in a single parent
house.
Well, what class were y'all? Were y'all poor, middle class, or did y'all have some money, or what was the situation like that?
I guess you could say lower middle class, something to that nature.
True. So, at what age did you start committing crimes?
18. It was probably, I graduated high school June 13th of 1993. And I would say probably around September, October, got around a couple of people, a few influences here and there, and then committed the first crime.
Well, tell the people what you went to prison for.
I went to prison for first degree murder and 5 counts of aggravated robbery.
Wow. Okay, so you said when you were 18, you started committing the crimes.
Yes.
See, like growing up, I didn't recognize before you went to prison that you was doing anything wrong.
Right.
So when you was 18 and you started committing the crimes, was it just always robbery? Was that the first crime you committed?
Robbery was the first crime. Yeah, it was.
And what made you want to be a robber?
Instant money, fast money. I looked at it like this. I worked at Kroger before I started doing the things that I was doing in the street. And I sat back and I looked at my check one day and I thought to myself, okay, so whatever minimum wage was back then, I can't remember, a long time ago. So I thought to myself, I said, I'm getting this much an hour, making this much a week, because I get paid every Friday. I could go do one lick, and when I say lick, I mean, robbery.
Robbery.
I can go do one robbery and get that much that I make in 1 month in less than 2 minutes.
So the first time you committed a robbery, well, what did you rob? Was it a person or a place?
No, actually, it was a convenience store. Me and an associate at the time, we had this beat up 32 revolver that didn't even work. We just cleaned all the dirt off of the shit and got some spray paint and spray painted it chrome, make it look good, put some electric tape around the handle. Man, you would have thought we had a real live action weapon. And if you moved it wrong, it was going to fall apart.
So how much money did y'all get for the first robbery?
Shit, it was probably $170 maybe.
Between two people?
Between two people.
And you decided this is going to be my career.
No, actually, I thought to myself, this was a test run. This was the test run. And to be honest with you, it wasn't so much the money, it was the adrenaline rush that I got for doing it. The rush was more gratifying than the money.
Why you didn't try to rob like drug dealers or something different than a convenience store?
Well, I figured convenience stores, insurance, they gonna get whatever was taken back. They could file whatever taxes to get what. I mean,
so you was like thinking you was gonna be Robin Hood.
Pretty much. And guys in the street, they trying to get it just like me. Then I didn't want to be pulling up somewhere, man, slipping, and some dude out robbing the street that I don't even remember take me out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I figured, a place of business, the aspect of fear of somebody seeing a gun, like you might run up on a dude in the street and pull a gun on him, man. He might stand there and talk crazy to you. He might not give you shit. Now, somebody that in a convenience store that has never, witnessed or been a part of any kind of crime, they probably be shaking in their shoes, willing to give you the money. And that was my reasoning behind it back then. Ignorant as it sounds, is like somebody would be so scared they just give me the money because I have a gun.
Right. Let me ask you this, like, do you feel like, because it's a conception out there that like music and movies and just in black culture, did any of that have any influence on you as far as like what led up to you starting to become a robber?
It did. My young, underdeveloped mind couldn't process, let's just say 1993 Menace Society came out, right?
Right.
So the young 18-year-old me saw it through different lenses. But if I look at it now as a 50-year-old man, there was a story behind it that people don't get,
Man, I would tell people later on growing up that was the last thing we had did together is went to see Minister Society. And it just messed you up. It messed us all up, but it messed you up in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
So,
and we met a brother from Cali that came in from, I want to say he was from South Central. And he was in an affiliate. He was the first person I met in person that I knew that was affiliated. And, he was just telling us, like movies like Boys in the Hood or Juice or anything like that from whatever, side of the nation. He was just telling us that these are people telling a story don't feed into something that y'all are not attuned to.
Right.
This is not y'all.
Right.
And of course, when you're young, man, you don't listen to that stuff. You don't want to hear that.
Right.
You know, you see Kane jacking a dude for his car and his rims, and then you see, you know, old dogs shooting it out and dudes getting revenge for their homies and stuff like that. But what people don't understand is what happened to them cats at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean? The ending is, you know, they went out like soldiers, like Scarface. Would you rather be Scarface or would you rather be Michael Corleone? Right. Michael Corleone lived a long life, died of natural causes. Scarface died a young fool. You see what I'm saying? So it was the perception of how we saw things younger that kind of conditioned us to act accordingly to, you know, what we saw.
Are you affiliated with any gangs?
Never have been.
Never
have been.
Cool. Well, the first time you committed the crime of robbery or whatever, was it spontaneous or was it premeditated? Like, did you sit at home and think, well, this spot right here, I'm finna go jack them?
It was premeditated. We sat back and was thinking of something small on a small scale to do for like a test run to, you know, get our feet wet. You know what I'm saying? I guess you could say, you know, take us out of the virginity stage and not doing anything, you know. So it was this market out north or something that this older dude owned. He ran numbers and everything too. So we figured, man, let's go in there and take his money. You know, let's go in there and get his money, get out, and go on about our business. And
so after you got away with the first robbery, how many more robberies was it until it led up to the murder?
That we actually did?
Yeah.
Oh, probably close to 20.
20 robberies?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, close to
So 20. You only were charged with 5?
Only charged with 5.
So you got away with 15?
Got away with 15.
Wow. Now, on the actual robbery where you committed the murder, can you walk us through that day?
So this was kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. One of my guys that ran in the crew we was in, you know, he came to me and said, man, I'm low on funds. And I'm, okay, bro, like what you got up your sleeve, what you want to do? He said, you know, I know of a place in this neighborhood where this guy cashes checks on a certain day. And he said he's an older guy, man, we can just, you know, put the pistol on him, he ain't gonna buck us, get the money, you know, be out, and we good. And so I was like, all right, cool, just let me know what's up. And so a couple of weeks went by, you know, we kind of, you know, checked it out, drove around, you know, the neighborhood, see what was what. It seemed pretty quiet, pretty laid back. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Well, that morning of, I had promised my brother that we were gonna go down to the park and go shoot ball. You know, we used to make that an all-day event, you know. And anyway, so my guy called me and said, man, we gotta do it now because, you know, it's check cashing day. We gotta go and do it. We got like an hour window to, you know, pull up, take care of the business and get out. I said, okay, cool. So I remember I told my little brother, I said, listen, man, I said, I'm gonna go take care of something. I'll be right back. And I remember he looked at me, man, I don't know how he felt it. I don't know how he felt it. It was kind of like what they would say an empath is. You know, they can see it or feel it before it happens. And he just looked at me, he said, man, I got a bad feeling, bro. If you leave, it's gonna be something bad gonna happen. And I said, nah, man, we cool, we'll be back. And, you know, ironically, I got in my car. My car has never given me problems. We got around the corner after I went and picked my guy up, got around the corner, my car stops. I was like, damn, you know, the fuck. You remember the Malibu I had, right? So got it crunk, you know, I was like, that was weird. So I pulled over, got by UN Lane where the rock quarry is, stopped again. So something told me, man, just go on and turn around, go home, go play ball. It ain't the day for, we'll do it another time. And then, you know, I was like, let me, pump, you know, started. Like I said, bro, the adrenaline rush of doing that stuff, it trumped the money because of the feeling that I got in that moment, that I got away with something, you know what I'm saying? And so I forced it. Got the car started, went on out there, and then the rest was history.
So when you get there, what happened?
Okay, so I went in, acted alone. I wanted to be the one to do it because I didn't trust somebody to go in there and not do harm to somebody when I knew that the likelihood of me doing harm was slim to none. You know what I'm saying?
So you get there, you go in by yourself.
I went in by myself.
But this was supposed to be a situation for you and to get your partner back right with some money.
Right.
So when you get in there, what went wrong? How did it end up going from a robbery to a murder?
Well, I go in, I acted like I was about to purchase something. I looked into the ice cream, box, just threw something on the counter. And the whole idea was to get him to open the register once I gave him the money.
So you had no mask on?
I had no mask on. Just had a hat pulled down like, stupid.
Wow.
Yeah, all of it was stupid, but yeah, stupid. So it was weird, man, because when he finally opened the register and I pulled my gun out, he didn't flinch. He didn't jump, budge. Man, not a hair on his body moved. He just stood there and just stared at me like you looking at me now. And I don't know what it was, man, but this weird aura just was on him. And I thought to myself, not today, Grady. Go on and leave, bro. I don't know if it was a covering. I don't know if it was protection. I don't know what it was. Whatever universal, energy it was, man, that was bestowed on that man. But it was like, man, just leave. This ain't the time or the person. So I turn around and get ready to walk out. I bump into one of the shelves where they hold the chip racks. And somebody just told me to turn around, man. So I look out my peripheral and he's reaching under the counter and I saw him pulling, and I saw the end of that gun and I just shot twice. It was more of, I can't even tell you what was going through my head at the time. I want to say that the fear that I felt and the anxiety that was included, it was one of those things to where do something. It wasn't like shoot him and kill him or, wound him and hurt him or shoot the gun and try to scare him. It was more like do something.
Right.
So the instinct, I guess, was just shoot.
When you shot, where did you hit him?
I hit him here in the corner of the eye and in the chest.
So you shot twice?
Shot twice.
Did you get any money?
Yes, that's another thing. Now that right there added to the guilt because the taking his life was damage enough.
Right.
Alone was, you can't even measure on the scale, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking at that time, well, actually first I checked to see if he was breathing. So I stood in there for probably about 3 minutes, man, like contemplating what do I do? Like, do I take the phone that was right there and try to call help for him? Or, what do I do? Because this man is dead and I'm like, he died in my hand and that's the last thing that I wanted. Like, I didn't go in there with the intention to hurt him.
Right.
But something just said, okay, the damage is already done. Just go ahead and take the money. Don't let this be for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I wrapped my hand up in my, shirt and, took money out and then I left.
How much money you get?
Probably $700-800.
So you killed a man for $800?
Pennies. Yeah.
When you left, what was you feeling?
When I first got in the car, I was shaking. I was shaking real bad. It was like
you had never killed anyone before.
I never killed anybody before.
Have you ever shot anybody before?
I had shot somebody before, but I had never killed anybody before.
Right.
I never taken anybody's life. And the fact, I don't know, man. The first thing that came to my face was my brother. He was the first person face that I saw. My hands were just shaking, man, like involuntarily and I just kept, holding my hands, like this, trying to, stop the shaking. I was like, damn, man. So, all this stuff was going on in my head, like, Grady, what have you done? Man, bro, this is
So when
not
you got in
true.
the car, did you tell the dude, hey man, I just killed the nigga,
I did.
you told him?
Yeah, I did. And he's like, man, we got to get up out of here. You know, so we peeled out. Just, psh.
So between you killing a man, how long was it before you got arrested for it?
If my memory serves me correct, I believe it happened somewhere in May, mid-May, and I was locked up June the 14th. But it wasn't
So you
for
was out for maybe a month.
about a month, some change. But I didn't get arrested for the murder. They had
So
been
before you
watching.
even get into that though,
Okay.
how did you feel like that month? Did you feel like I ain't got away with this?
Nah.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah,
See, like today they got all this technology.
yeah.
Back then it wasn't that much technology. Why did you feel like they were gonna catch you?
It was just a feeling I had, man. It was one of those things. Every morning I woke up, I had this feeling of you didn't get away, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get away. That was the burden that I carried, and then all I could see was his face. Every time I went to sleep, I closed my eyes to think. All I saw was his face. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why I said, man. And so you remember my girlfriend I had at the time, and the night before, I remember I went and to go see her, and I said, I need to talk to you about something. So I broke it down to her, and I think she knew that it was something was about to happen. And then that next morning, that's when they came and surrounded the house and took us in.
So they pick you up, take you downtown. Do they give you a bond?
Yeah, originally I was charged with 3 or 4 counts of aggravated robbery. So initially my bond was set at 50,000. Well, bail was 50,000. So it took 5,500 to bond me out.
Right.
So I called my mom. She hollered at my granddaddy, my aunts, and all them. Hey, we gotta go get Grady out. So an hour later, they were like, "Our partner, we got some new information. You're not going nowhere."
And they said you was
Then
charged with murder?
Well, no, what it was, I remember the detective, homicide detective at the time. He came in and he said, "I got something interesting I need to share with you." He said, "That Malibu that you got," he said, "when did you get it painted?" And I just looked at him and I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, that Malibu has been painted recently, right?" So I'm trying to understand how they knew that. And I said, "Man, I don't have anything to say about that." So he said, "Well, you don't have to say anything. We got somebody telling us everything we need to know. We know about the guns y'all got. We know about this. We know about that." He said, "Man, help me help you. Did you have anything to do with this, that, and the other?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I had nothing to do with that." And so the more he shared with me, the more I knew that somebody had said something to him about something.
So it was someone told.
A few, I'll say a few things were leaked that only 2 people would know.
Right.
And I kind of had an idea after the fact who it might have been.
So they rebook you for murder?
Rebooked me for first degree murder, aggravated robbery, and gave me I can't remember what they call it. They call it something, out of court, out of something bond, where you don't even have one.
So between after you being booked for murder, how long was it before you started going to court?
I went to court probably 2 weeks later. Then they came back with the true bill, with the indictment, and then from there it was more like going to court, getting different, offers, time offers.
So you didn't go to trial?
No, I didn't go to trial.
How did you not go to trial?
Well, the thing about it is when I was talking to them, I eventually confessed to what I did. I confessed to it.
You told on
Like,
yourself.
man, look, it was me. See, they had arrested two guys the week of the murder, and they had them in custody. That's another thing that was bothering me too, because two dudes were arrested for something that I had done. Then I took somebody's life. Somebody else, most people would have been like, man, fuck them, let them rot, let them take the charge, let them fight the charge. But it was just, everything was bearing down on me, man, and I just finally said, man, you know what? I'm gonna own up to this shit. As crazy as it sounds, I'm gonna own up to it. Go ahead and get my punishment. And another thing too is the family of the victim. They were very forgiving people for what had happened, and they were very, spiritual people. And his wife was like, I forgive the person who did this terrible thing. Da, 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 da. I didn't know this in the beginning.
Right.
I acted purely on what was inside of me.
Well, so break it down to me and the people. Is this a state or a Fed case? Like what?
Oh, it's a state case. It's a state case.
And what's the difference? What would make it like?
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the differentiality, but when you catch a charge on a state level, it stays in state. I think federal is like nationwide, I think.
Okay.
I think that might be the case. There's different factors that would factor into the seriousness of whatever you did.
Right. So you confess, and how long before sentencing?
Okay, so when I got incarcerated June the 14th of 94, I finally accepted my time November of 95.
So you did like a year and some change
About 17 months maybe.
before you got sentenced.
18 months.
So that time was you was just downtown.
Downtown, yeah, the old CJC building.
When you got sentenced, what was your sentence?
They gave me life plus 16 years.
Plus 16 years.
Yeah, I had life. I had 8 plus another 8. So they ran my life consecutive with the 2 8-year sentences.
So explain to the people how you got a life sentence plus time and you are free.
Well, I was under the 89 sentencing law, which was the life sentence was 60 years and 60%, which is 36 years. So you factor in behavior credits and program credits, which I was getting 16 a month for the majority of my time. So if you take 36 years and you add good time to it, you do a minimum mandatory 25 years before you're eligible for parole.
Okay.
So what happened was I did 25 years, then I ended up jumping to the 8, did a year and a half on the first 8, then I did a year and a half on the second 8, which put me at 28 years and 8 months. And then I ended up going up for parole July of 2023. No, 2022. I went up for parole for the first time.
So at what you was 18?
When I committed, no, I was 19.
19.
When I committed, yeah.
So at 19, you get sentenced to life. What do they send you to?
Back in 95, there were 2 places you went once you left the county jail to go to the Tennessee Department of Correction. You either went to Middle Tennessee Reception Center, which is now known as Charles Bass Correctional Center. Shut down, it's closed down. You either went there, or you went to MLRC in Memphis, Martin Luttrell, whatever it was.
So which one you go to?
I ended up going to one in Nashville, MTRC.
Cool. First day in, what's that like?
Well, man, I remember like it was yesterday. So you go to, they call it a reception center. That's where you go to figure out how they're going to classify you to what prison you're going to go to. So I go there, took off my orange jumpsuit. Of course, like they did the slaves back in the day. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue, lift up your nut sack, turn around, let me see your ass, and get naked and lift your toes and all that good stuff. Then you got a row of we call them state blues, where you have a pair of blue jeans with a white stripe on the side and a light blue shirt. You pick your size, put your clothes on. They give you a ID number, take your pictures, make you shave your face and all that. So if you escape and try to shave, you know, they can know what you look like. And then they tell you what guild you're going to get ready to get reclassed.
First day in, was you ready to escape?
Man, hell yeah. Man, I was like, but it wasn't until I got my first time sheet. They show you your charges and, you know, your time and everything. I got my first time sheet, man, and it said that my earliest release date at that time was like something 2035. And I'm like, hold up, I'm 20. This is 1995, 2035. That's 40 years. I said, oh no, I ain't gonna be able to do it. But I was it. Well, okay, so go through the classification. They gave me some, you know, choices of prison that would, you know, better suit my needs, so to speak. So I ended up deciding on Turney Center, which is in only Tennessee, about an hour and 15 minutes, depending on where you live in, you know, Nashville. So I get there, get reclassed, get shipped, man, and I get to the prison and I'm just like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into?
Tell me this. First altercation in that motherfucker, what's it like?
Oh man, it was on a basketball court. It was, and I'm nothing against brothers from Memphis because I got a lot of brothers from Memphis I got love for.
Right.
But this dude in particular, man. So one of the things they tell you when you're at the jailhouse is when you go, first time anything happens, you go ahead and get off of somebody's ass as best you can, win, lose, or draw. They gonna respect you and know that you're not the one to be fucked with. And I was like, okay, cool. I had my mind ready. If somebody brush up against me wrong and then apologize, whatever the case may be, I'm finna go on and get out.
Take it there.
Yeah, so we on the basketball court. This dude, I was getting the better of him. You know, I was strong, man. I had, you know, some nice little size on me, and I, you know, playing a little bit, and he called me a Trashville ass nigga. So the guys from Nashville were looking around like, damn, what this young dude gonna do? You know, and it was crazy because they called me young nigga because I was the youngest dude in that pod at the time. There was a bunch of old heads that been there for a while. And all I asked was, bro, don't fire me no more. You know, I just feel like I gave him fair warning, so if it happened again, it was going down. And of course, you know, his arrogance wouldn't let, he got the best of him. Right. Wouldn't let him not do it. And so we get into an altercation. And I remember the time he was affiliated and I didn't know about any of how that stuff worked. And I know that when me and him got to scuffling, I saw about 7 people coming my way. And I said, all right, here we go. So this Muslim brother by the name of Mafia, he came over there and he said, nah, man, youngster stood his ground. Do this the right way. Or, you know, we can just do it all out. It don't make us no difference. And then I saw his people coming. So I'm thinking, oh, shit, over a basketball game? Right. Y'all serious?
Yeah.
So it was one of those situations where, you know,
you had to kind of learn the prison politics.
You had to. So the guy came, you know, was like, hey, man, look, man, you know, why, you know, the guy, he was over that certain affiliation. So, man, I saw what was going on. He know we not with that. So what we gonna do is, man, y'all want to go on and get him up. And I'm like, what you mean get him up? He said, man, y'all, you know, go off in the room, man. You know, I gonna pat you down. The brother gonna pat him down. Because it was a Muslim brothers. Make sure y'all, both of y'all straight up. Y'all go in there, do y'all thing, man. After that, man, you know, it's over. Right. So we went in there. He acted like he wanted to talk. I went ahead and just did the damn thing. And we came out. And the Muslim brother said, man, it's over. Anything after this, man, you know, y'all know what it is. And it was cool. And so I didn't really know how to feel about that because I'd heard horror stories about how guys try to look out for younger guys and, you know, then take advantage of them.
Right.
And I wasn't going for it, so I explained to him and let him know, like, hey, man, look, I don't need y'all doing the damn thing for me. I can stand on my own. But once I got to know him, that dude taught me a lot. Because I probably would have ended up hurt or hurting somebody and getting more time if it wasn't for him because he opened my eyes to a whole other level of manhood, right, on how to carry myself in there.
Well, you speaking about people trying to, what you say, take advantage.
Right.
Did you ever have a situation where somebody tried to take advantage of you?
No. I had one dude that he tried to cut into me on the slick side. And
what does that mean?
Okay, so when I say cut into me, he was trying to, like in a roundabout way, see if I was available for.
See if you was gay.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna fuck, suck, whatever.
Right.
And we just got to playing a basketball game, and we was out there, man. We were destroying everybody on the court. We beat a crew of dudes that we should never beat. And we came in the room, man, and he was like, man, we did good, man. I see you, man. You held your own, man. I fuck with you, man. Man, I fuck with you too, bro. We give each other that. And he said, no, man, I fuck with you, bro. Man, I fuck with you too. He said, man, shit, man, why don't you go and let a nigga suck your dick or something?
What?
And I said, what you just say? Man, shit, man, I ain't gonna say shit if you don't say shit. Immediately, I just started beating him. It was more so out of fear because at that time he was bigger than me.
Right.
This dude was jacked up on the weight pile. Like, this is a big dude, man. And I ain't gonna never forget that, man. We sitting on the bunk, man, just chilling. And I went off into him and just started, man, just firing off on any little part I could see his body. I would just beat.
Right.
And I popped the door, came out. And I remember I went up there, told my guy, my feeler, hey, man, I just whooped this dude, man. He tried to come at me, man. And he was like, man, don't worry about it, bro. We got it. So he went down there, man, and dude came out, went to his cell, cleaned him up and shit. And I remember we sat down and I was outside. So that was the first time I ever considered outside of what I did on the street taking somebody's life. I'm like, man, this dude just came at me, man. He might not stop. So I might need to do something to him. But when his people found out who he was and what he was, they dealt with him. And I know.
So he was affiliated?
Yeah, he was affiliated.
Do you know of anybody that took advantage of?
Oh, yeah.
Is it more often or less often than what they make it seem like? Because, I'm outside looking in, and the people that's listening is outside looking in. What is that just like happening on the normal?
Taking advantage of, no. It was 95% willing participants.
Right.
Yeah, it was surprising because I remember when I went to work for the first time at my job, they would have like call outs where they would, 10 minutes, you got 10 minutes to get where you're gonna get, and they, shut the gates, lock the gates, everybody where they gonna be. And I saw it was these 3 couples.
3 couples?
Couples, yeah. They go out there and they kiss each other by like a man or a woman would, leaving for work or going to the military. And I was like, oh, hell no. Crazy madness. Yeah, 95% of it, man, were willing participants. It wasn't a lot of, it was only one person that I witnessed get raped. And that happened like in the early part of my incarceration. Prisons were a lot rougher than they were as time went on. Yeah.
So, what did you do as far as you a man? Was there a lot of jacking off, or did you? What was the sex situation?
Man, I jacked off constantly. You know what I'm saying? I put my shit to work. I was like, man, I'm either gonna leave this motherfucker with a strong prostate or a weak one.
how you go about even that shit and you live with a man?
Oh, I take mine to the shower, bro, or like Sally go to work, handle the business. But now, just to be real with you, when because I was 20 when I got to prison. My first 18 years, man, I was having sex with females too. So, I was like, when the hand went enough, I'm going to holler at females.
So you was getting the guards.
Oh yeah, that man, nurses, guards. You know what I'm saying? One thing about
how common is that? Like with the guards and nurses and female workers.
It was more common between the 90s and the early 2000s. It happens. It is what it is. For some reason, administration forget that we're still men.
Right.
It's like you catch me tonguing down a dude or fucking on some dude, you laugh at it and say that, oh man, that's cool. They found out you fucking one of them women, it's almost like you shot the president or something. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those women, man, they're vulnerable because they're not getting attention from home. You know, they're not getting sex down. They're not getting wined and dined. You know, a dude in prison, all we have is time.
And y'all ain't that picky.
And
y'all ain't got that much of
and
a
a lot of
choice.
people don't have standards, man.
Yeah.
I done seen some dudes, man, you know, fuck some real cows, bro. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this. I lowered mine some, but I refuse to go. You know, you can't have hair coming out like your chin and missing teeth, and you know, nasty breath stinking and stuff. You got to have some kind of something about you. You know what I'm saying? But administration had this ideology, and that's why they came up with the what was that called? PREA, the Prison Rape Elimination Act. So us being wards of the state, we can't give consensual sex to a woman or a man. So in all aspects of it, you have sex with somebody, male or female, it's rape on their part automatically. Yeah.
Well, before we get off of the subject of the time you served, what's the craziest shit you ever seen while you was there?
As far as violent, it's just crazy.
Just period. Just some shit that now that you at home, you like, this really happened while I was there.
Let's see. Violent wise, I was at a prison and they found that this dude was snitching, was telling, was offering information to the administration. And we were sitting at the chow hall eating, and at that point in time, man, I've been there for a while. I kind of got acclimated to what was going on, kind of, in tune with the environment. And this dude was walking. It was 95 degrees outside. This motherfucker had a coat on. I thought that was weird, but I didn't really pay too much into it. I'm like, okay, he old. He might be cold. I don't know.
Right.
And man, he pulled out this fucking, like a lawnmower blade out of the sleeve of his jacket, man, and hit dude right in the neck with it, man. I'm talking about hit him, pow. And dude just face fell in the tray and everybody just scattered. And man, that's what happened to snitching bitches. And I was like, oh shit. Now the craziest thing that I saw was I walked in on one of my partners, man, one of my homies, man, had this dude bent over, man, blasting up in him. He fucking shot this dude, and the dude was an officer.
Oh man!
And I walked in, man, and cause we, the respect thing to do when you come to another man's cell is not,
right.
So I hit the door, cause we had these, we call them blinds, like you would say, like on the blind on a, like right there on the window. But you have a little thing covering your window, you be in there, man, doing your thing, just whatever, just getting away from everybody. And when we had a thing like, man, we partners, man. If you're knocking on, he just come on in. I know it's you. So I've been doing this. Hey, man, look, and he was in him. You know what I'm saying? Deep. And I just was like, I cannot believe I just saw that shit. It threw me off, man. Like it bothered me for a while because he was one of the last people that I would have suspected to even
do that,
to even go there. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I saw a dude get stabbed for jumping in the chow hall line. I saw people, get beat down and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it was normal once you were there for a while. You just see shit and you don't see shit. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this. We at the end of the sentence.
Gotcha.
You find out you finna get parole. What does that feel like after spending basically your whole life in there?
Well, I took every angle of preparation I could to get ready when my time came. Because so I spoke about the time sheets, right? So you get your Tony sheet. That's what is, the technical term for it. And as the time comes back, and then, you can also, people could look on the computer and say, hey, look, your day is at this date, it's at that date. So then I get this notice that says you be eligible for parole July 2022. So anything that I wasn't prepared for, that's when I started reaching out to, the Raheem Bufords, the my partner Buster, and all those guys. Hey man, what do I need to have that I may not have to prepare myself for parole? And you got people that are going up for parole and that have life sentences and they making it. Man, what they say, man, oh man, they just gave it to me. It's almost like you have this fear of it's not gonna happen, but you also have the enthusiasm of it's my time. You know what I'm saying?
When did you find out you were actually going to be paroled out?
Okay, so July of 22, I went up for parole, and man, I went in front of Barry Rich. He continued my case for 6 months. So when they say your case was continued, in all essence, what that means is they didn't deny you the opportunity of parole. They're just saying that they need more evidence of things before they make a final decision of parole. So what he asked me to do, no disciplinary write-ups and get a psychological evaluation before I went back up in January of 23. So I went up in January of 23. I went in front of Roberta Custov, and when everything was said and done, she gave me her vote, and all I need. And when you have a violent charge, you need 4 votes to make parole out of the 7 board members.
How many did you get?
Oh, I sweep the board. I got all 7. I got all 7.
Wow. While you was in there, did you lose any family members, friends, like as far as death?
I did. The first friend I lost was a girl named LaShonda that I knew that went to my church. It was said that our distant cousin Chris shot her and killed her for flushing his dope because she had a bullet wound to the head. So they had her funeral. 2 weeks later, Chris was killed. He was shot in the head. And it was just, to me, it was like, man, maybe it was poetic justice. I don't know. So I found out my girl that I was with was pregnant with our child. And I got the first ultrasound back in October. August or October, it was one of the two. So our daughter was born prematurely. She had some medical situations that went on with her. So she was actually born 3 months early. She was born November the 12th of 94, and she died December the 24th of that same year. So she only lived for like a month and a half. That right there was the hardest thing that I ever had to deal with to this day, because I abandoned her mother by getting incarcerated, then I left her out there to deal with all that shit at a young age on her own. Right. Then of course, we lost our grandfather, we lost our Uncle Mike, we lost other friends. Right before I came home, matter of fact, May, we lost our Uncle Junior, Rachel and them's dad. And then I went up that next month. Then, of course, I got out my grandmother, Edie. I lost her. It may be a few people I might not be thinking of, but those are the ones that were the closest ones that I ended up losing. And of course, my father, but I wasn't close to my father. When he died, man, I didn't even feel anything. Honestly, I just felt that it was a shame that I didn't get a chance to talk to him more to find out what was it that went wrong with him mentally that made him who he was and how he was,
Now, your siblings, like, they say when you do time, they do time with you. Right. Do you feel like that was true?
For my brother, definitely. You know as well as I do how Edmund took it.
Right, like, I don't want to speak to the people that don't know. Right. I want you to tell the situation, because, like, personally, I seen it changed him. But right. What do you feel like?
I know it did. Edmund wasn't. I don't think he was ever the same after I got incarcerated, because we fussed and fought like little big brother do. We were only 2 years apart, so. But man, that was my dude, man. we were all together all the time, so we had that bond. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But man, he cried every time he came to see me. He cried. I mean, it came from the gut, man. He cried like it came from the soul when he would cry, and it hurt me. But it was also, I couldn't do my time and him come up in here crying. So I finally told him, I said, look, man, don't bring your ass, and it pained me to say it. It pained me to say it. Don't bring your ass back up here, man, you're gonna be crying. Cause I got him crying, I got my girlfriend crying, you know, and then my little sister in the background, she don't know how to feel. Then my mama trying to make sure everybody's cool. So in order for me to survive and do my time and not lose my damn mind, I just told him, man, don't bring your ass back up here with all that crying and shit. You know, he got.
Was he able to come back?
Oh yeah, he came right back. Like Edmund, he was my big, outside of my mom's, Edmund was my biggest supporter. I put him on the top of the fucking totem pole.
Right.
Because he challenged detectives about my integrity. He challenged police officers about when people talked about me, man, he was in their face. Man, you don't know my brother. Hey, my brother's not this. My brother's not a monster. And man, he was my guy, man. You know, because he was old enough to understand what these people were saying about me. You know,
so I was so young.
You were young, yeah. You were younger than Valerie, so y'all was so young. Man, y'all didn't really understand the gravity of what was going on, but he did because you know he was with me. You know, and you know, growing up, like he knew the true me.
Right.
And that's one of the things that society tries to do. They try to define you on the worst thing you ever did in your life. So let's say if we judge everybody in this world on the worst thing they did in their life, they will look at them like they would look at me,
right,
or anybody else.
See, like even when the situation happened, I didn't understand. I was old enough to understand what was going on, but I was with you every day, and I never seen the side that end up being, like you said, what people define you from.
Right.
So that shit is kind of crazy. But anyways, we've served a life sentence in prison.
Life sentence.
First day out, what that feel like?
Unfucking real. Like, bro, so I went through the whole process and stuff that morning, you know, ended up changing into my clothes, and I'm sitting up and looking at myself like, damn, I got on a pair of red and white Jordans. Like, you don't even wear colors in here though, boy. Everything is either black, gray. No. They took black away. It was either gray or white.
Right.
Either gray or white. And Jordans. Now, of course, there was certain situations where people could finagle the system and get things done. But yeah, I put my clothes on, man, and I still didn't feel right because I was still inside. I told my girl that I was involved at the time. I told her, like, hey, look, I'm not wearing the underwear, the socks, or anything here. I'm taking all of this shit off. I'm putting it in whatever bag, trash can, box. And I said, I want socks, underwear, clothes, shoes, whatever you gonna send me. I'm not walking out of here with nothing that I had any attachment to in here, period. And I remember the lady with me. The lady was being overly dramatic. You know, she had let the guy. It was two of us get released that day, so she let the dude put on his clothes. So when they opened up the box and saw all this shit that I had, you know, they got this Jordan suit, red and white suit with the red and white, you know, Jordans. Oh no, those are gang colors. I said, hey, I'm not affiliated. I'm going home.
Right.
Like, I'm not walking back on the compound with this stuff on.
Right.
So I sat there, man, you know, different departments came and, you know, you got to sign for this, sign for your records, you know, get your paper ID. So then the warden comes up there. And before you leave, the warden has to come and ask you questions. It's a formality. It's like stupid, but hey, is your name Grady Morris? Yes. Is your number da-da-da-da-da? Yes. Are you born da-da-da-da-da? Yes, I was. All right, cool. Matter of fact, why ain't you got your clothes on? She wouldn't let me put them on. Why? Man, she said because of the colors. He said, man, get your ass in there and put them clothes on. You going home, partner.
Right.
And I said, man, it's the same thing I said. Let's go. So I went and put my stuff on, man, and it was like, wow. But when you know, I don't know if you ever came to see me when I was at Turner Center, but when you go into VG, when you get ready to leave, you can only come so far. And then your family goes, they slide the gate, they leave and go through and they check their hand and make sure that, the stamp they put on, that invisible stamp, they see it. Man, I walked past that gate, bro, and it got a little more realer. I got to the elevator. It got a lot more realer. Going down there, my supervisor, she actually walked me out. And got down to the elevator, and I'm like, this shit finna happen. I mean, it was crazy, man. This is really finna happen. So I get there, open the elevator. She said, man, I would give you a hug, but I said, listen. I said, fist bump. You know how we do it. You know what I mean? So she gave me a fist bump, man, wish me the best. And I saw, the girl I was involved with at the time, she was standing there at the door. And all I kept thinking when I was walking, I was like, man, what if somebody come out of the blue and try to tackle me down and say, man, you ain't going nowhere? I'm telling you, man, it was just crazy, man. So the closer I got, and it seemed like I was walking the Green Mile, bro. And it wasn't really that long of a walk. It just seemed like he turned, like I was walking to the electric chair or something.
Right.
Man, I got there, and she tried to give me a hug, and I said, no, step out the door. I said, I don't want to hug you in here. I want to hug you out there. And I hugged her. I picked her up. And I said, let's go home. And I remember I saw the warden out there in the parking lot. And he said, hey, man, he said, take care, man. I know you're going to do good things. And I said, I appreciate that. Well, whether he meant it or not, just the sentiment alone meant something good to me. Because he would never have said that to me if I was inside wearing that blue. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I just looked around, and I was no longer surrounded by a perimeter.
Did was there some people in there that you fuck with that died while they was there?
They did. Mm-hmm.
They didn't get to see you come home, or you didn't get to see them come home.
Yeah, it was.
You had a lot of life with friends.
A lot.
Now, I know you be telling me about a few of your partners. You got some life of friends that done made it home.
Yeah, oh yes, it's a big. As a matter of fact, the majority of us that are out now, we kind of had us own little tight circle. Built on trust. Familyhood. I mean, these dudes right here, I consider them family. They brothers.
Right.
I do anything in the world for them.
Cause you practically spend more time with them than us.
Ever. I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, we were growing up. We were what? 5 years apart? No, 7 years apart?
6.
6 years apart?
Yeah.
So, when I got locked up, you were what?
14, 13.
13, you know what I'm saying? Valerie was...
But when I come, and you come home and I'm 40.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother... I mean, it was mind-blowing, man. So, as everybody got out, hey, man, here go my number, man, call me. And it was bittersweet. It was so nice to hear their voices. Because with me... I never believed in that concept, man, fuck the streets, man, focus on your time, man, don't worry about the, man, I kept my mind on the streets every single day of my incarceration because I knew one day I was coming home, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know when, didn't have a clue when, but I knew I was coming home. Now, were there days that I doubted, because when you think the parole board has the decision to make to let you come home.
What about the victim's family when you got out?
Well, speaking of the victim's family, like I said, they were very forgiving from the beginning.
Right.
And I think that helped me a lot. When I came home, the stepdaughter reached out to me on Facebook. I ain't gonna never forget this, man. I was in Lexington, Kentucky at a convention, and I got this long ass message. And I'm thinking to myself, who in the world is this? I don't even know who this lady is. So I got to reading and she broke down who she was. And I was like, wow. So I hit back immediately like, hey, I never got a chance to apologize to you personally, but I want to take time out to, and I still haven't talked to her yet, but we still,
message
on Facebook from time to time. Now his biological daughter, his only true blood child, she reached out to me when I was at South Central back in 2005. She wrote me a letter. I still got the letters to this day. And she told me, man, like, hey, we forgave you. We forgive you. Now, the crazy thing about that was, as they told me from the beginning, like, hey, look, we forgive you, but don't let my husband's death go in vain. You make something of yourself.
Right.
Don't you sit in here and not do anything and let your stuff go to waste and get in trouble. He said, because if you do, I will make sure that I have a community behind me to make sure you stay in prison.
Right.
So.
And with that being said, like, coming home 30 years later, seeing FaceTime on phones and flat screen TVs. Like when you went in, we had like the flow model TVs.
Flow models, yeah, that was a big thing right there. The flow models, yeah.
What's it like to even see like how cars looking, how motherfuckers traveling and the internet and all that shit?
Well,
was it hard to adjust?
Not really, because we had access to shit when we was in prison.
Right.
We worked for people that had internet access. You sneak on there and get on there. Or they might even say, hey, man, you want to slide on there? Look, don't look up no porn, but man, you want to get on there, just kind of float around and just check things out. But it was always in secrecy. You really couldn't do anything just comfortably.
Right.
You might, have a burning, man, I'm finna try to do me some betting. And, you look on there, man, trying to see what you're going to do to play your tickets and stuff, or try to catch some scores, holler at some people, whatever the case, get on Facebook, man, using a moniker, whatever the case is, you can only, it's limited.
Right.
But once you get out, you might have somebody have, a smartwatch.
Right.
They might, hey, Morris, you want to check out these pictures, man? And you roll down, you're like, damn.
This is on the watch.
This motherfucker got this shit on the watch.
When you went in, they had a watch with a calculator on it.
That's what I had.
That was
the calculator watch.
Yeah.
The big boy calculator watch.
Right.
So, I mean, it's okay. My first TV I purchased was probably when I left the transitional house, which was one of the conditions of my release. I bought a 58-inch TV for $340. In prison, my 15-inch cost $270.
Right.
Yeah, they're getting away with monopolizing the system on how we purchase things, taking advantage of us because of our situation, and price gouging on every single thing. Bruh, I could buy a box of cereal, name brand this big, for $5, if not $4, depending on if they got a sale or not. If I buy a regular box of cereal on the commissary, it's gonna cost you damn near $8.
Right.
Oh man, highway fucking robbery. They more criminals than we could ever be, you know what I'm saying, in the sense of how they doing things. So adjusting, like not reaching in my money, grabbing, paper money and paying, just take a card, boop, do my thing. That was weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we stopped at the store, and like I said, the lady at the time was like, hey, I want you to start getting used to how we do things out here now. She said, you ain't got no money in your pocket. I'm not finna give you none. I'm finna hand you this card, go up there, pay for something, and then let me see. And I was like, man, I don't know, So I'm looking at the people that were in front of me, and I'm just studying, seeing how they do it, right?
Yeah.
And some people laying a card, on the face, and some people sliding.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the card like, all right, so which way do I do it? Okay, here go this little thing is a chip, I know, and he got the little bar in the back. So I get up there, and the guy was, and this right here was when I felt my humanity started coming back. Because when you're in a situation of incarceration, like I said, oppression, dehumanization, being treated like a third-class citizen, when I went up there to see this guy treat me like a human being, man, that like lifted a big gorilla off my back.
Right.
Because I'm like, you know what? This dude don't know that I just walked out of prison. He don't know me from Adam. I'm just somebody coming to the store buying some food.
Right.
Boop, boop. Would you like a receipt? Like, no. Have a good day, sir. You don't get treatment really like that when you're on the inside. It's far few in between.
Right. So now that you free, caught up with what's going on. What's the plans? What are you doing with yourself now, and what goals you got for the future?
Okay, so first get out, jumped a couple of jobs, went to work with Cuz at the restaurant for a while. I was taking time I needed to find purpose. Barber by trade, love cutting hair, love, networking with people, meeting different folks. I was out there in the Brentwood area cutting, and man, I met some amazing, and I worked with some amazing women. being the only guy in the shop was cool. And if I felt like the big brother amongst the little sisters, you know what I mean?
Right.
They showed me love, and the people in the community showed me love, and I met some real.
Did they help you adapt?
They did, man. Really and truly, man. Those the two, Nikki and Tana, they were really big, and like Tana, she cool. She's one of them girls that, like, she gonna tell you straight up, like, nigga, you bullshit. You you don't say stuff like that. Man, a girl to hear you say something like that, that's weird.
Right.
Just different shit. And they would get on to me about stuff, but they would always give me the tools and the jewels to adjust and do things better. And they helped me a lot. A lot of people did. But meeting all those people and talking to those people made me realize that I was not fulfilling my purpose. And one thing that I love doing, like what we're doing now, like I sit down and tell somebody my story, bro, 95% of people don't believe that I did what I did.
Right.
A lot of people won't even believe that I was ever incarcerated.
Right.
Like, how many people do you know served however many umpteen years and get out and have what mind they have left to carry on the way that I do? And there are a lot of us out there who are doing it. That's one of the reasons I want to, us to spread this message. So now I quit the world of barbering, and now I'm an organizer for a nonprofit, Unheard Voices Outreach.
Okay.
Which a dear friend of mine, I consider a brother. He started while he was incarcerated. He's another lifer, and we working tooth and nail, man, trying to get the formerly incarcerated involved in the movements. Trying to get laws and policies changed, trying to get the legislature, bringing things to the attention of the legislatures and the community on things that we can and need to do to change the way things are. Because right now, man, we're in a crisis.
Right.
We're in a crisis. The way they're sentencing people to time, the way that they're locking these folks up, this prison industrial system, man, there's a lot of flaws in it. There are a lot of flaws in the laws, like the life sentence right now. Under the law that I was under, you had a chance of making parole after proving yourself had been a changed individual. Right now, you have to serve a minimum of 51 years before you're eligible for parole. Who in the fuck gonna live 51 years of their life in a prison that live? Nobody's ever done it in the state of Tennessee that I know of.
Right.
So, we're on the ground, man, politicking, getting into the communities, building relationships. Like we just went to Memphis, just got back from Memphis yesterday. We went to this museum, they call it the OG. A lot of OGs from different places came around. I got to meet Fred Hampton Jr. I met a lot of folks, man. One of the brothers from, Black Mafia family was there. It was nice, and everybody's trying to get together and figure out what we need to do to bring to the attention and the awareness of what's going on. That stuff has to change, but we have to get the people involved in the community. So,
So you're doing public speaking?
Well, that's coming. That's one of the things. And, with Life After Life, like I've wore this t-shirt different places. I've been to, Wisconsin, Chicago, Atlanta, Florida, everywhere I've worn this shirt, man, people want to know what this means, what this stands for. And I tell them, like, in a nutshell, and it's not so much once you think about it, just people incarcerated. But when you're dealing with individuals who have served a significant amount of time in prison, caged, incarcerated, whatever, you want to put on it, words you want to do to describe it. There are folks who are living out amongst us who are thriving, who are making a difference, who are changing the world and doing it in a positive way.
Right.
You hear so much negativity in the media about, this person did this person did that. He just, and people are violating. Crime is rampant. There are a lot of things happening in the world, but there are a lot of people who have served their time who are now out here, who are living amongst civilized individuals, man, doing good, real good.
Right.
Including myself. So the men and women who have, did their time, made amends for their crimes and are out now living life to the fullest, bringing it to the attention of the people and letting them know, man, hey, look, I'm not better than any of those guys. most of those guys and women in there, they deserve a second chance. We supposed to be living in a second chance society, so prove it. Change these laws, give these folks a chance to get out and prove that they're changed individuals.
We're gonna let them know it is life after life.
Life after life, brother.
Right. Well, I want to thank you for sharing the story. I learned some things that I didn't know, and hopefully the world will be able to see a different side of people that we are gonna begin bringing to them. Like I said, this is episode 1, and from now on, I won't be doing the interviewing. We're gonna have Grady doing the interviewing of the guests that we bring on that have served life sentences. Like I said, it was an important episode to me because it was personal. It was my big cuz. Like growing up, that was one of my claims to fame. Like I got a cousin in there doing life too, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, when you was young, it was cool. But the reality of all the shit you went through, it affected all of us. You know what I'm saying? So
it did.
We're gonna try to bring some awareness to other people going through these same situations. And as y'all can see, we got the merch. We're gonna have the docu-series coming to y'all, and a percentage of the proceeds is going to people incarcerated, serving life sentences, or just coming home trying to get back, get themselves together. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're trying to bring to the world. So I guess we'll close it out with saying thank y'all for listening, and thank you for sharing.
Most definitely.
This is life after life.
Life after life.